Hey guys, back to Bump here, bringing you another augmentation themed video. This is probably going to be the final one of these due to the fact that they are nerfing augmentation next patch, and this video is kind of going to show you why that actually had to be done. I'm going to showcase 3 speed kills that my guild executed this week. We got rank 1 on Kazzara, we got rank 1 on the Assault, and on Sarkareth. And essentially there were 2 reasons why we could kill these bosses so quickly. One of them was we didn't bring a lot of healers and we didn't bring a lot of tanks. And furthermore, our Augmentation Evokers deal an absolute ton of damage. You can take a look here, they got several rank 1 boss damage in these fights. And I'm going to talk about how they actually did that and why it's so overpowered. You might have followed along with the rankings, seen that Augmentation, they look very high. However, that's kind of like the average. You can min-max augmentation to such a degree that it ends up much better than anything else. I'm going to talk to you exactly how that's done and how they fixed it through the nerfs. Anyway, first of all, we have 4 Augmentation Evokers here. You do 4 augmentation because that's the maximum amount of stacking you can do with Ebomite. So previously you could do that infinitely. You might have seen my video when I had like 18 of them and just kind of one-shot bosses with my Unholy DK. Now we can only stack to 4, which is why we run 4. The idea here is to essentially have 2 targets which are incredibly high burst. We're going to run 2 Unholy DKs. The Augmentation Evokers are then going to apply the buffs to those, and we're going to execute a new tech here, which the Orcs in my guild came up with. Big shout out to you guys. Well done. Anyway, previously, what you did was that you put up 4 open mites, you had presence on 2 guys, you would use 2 empower spells, which would put shifting sands on 2 guys, you would time skip, and then you would do 2 empowers again, so you got 4 shifting sands on 4 different people, right? And then you would benefit from the fact that they all got lots of versatility, which gave you lots of damage through, the log feedback. Now, what we do differently is that we do the whole rotation, right? So we do 4 Evermind, we empower double, shifting sand. However, we don't empower straightly after that shifting sand, after that time skip, sorry. So essentially, you wait until the shifting sands drops from the 2 Unholy DKs, and then you empower again to put shifting sands back on them. So instead of getting 4 targets with shifting sands, right, over short duration, you put 2 targets shifting sands and double duration on those 2. This means that you get shifting sands through the entire burst of the Unholy DKs, and this gets a much better feedback into DPS because you essentially funnel all the damage on these guys. They do insane amount of DPS that funnels back into the orgs, and overall that ends up being very powerful. Furthermore, we do quite a lot of optimization where they obviously buff the Unholy DKs on the burst, but then they shift targets, and we have an optimized setup where we know exactly who has the most damage in like which window and so on. So you had like the 2-minute classes getting buffed at a 2-minute point. We have the static DPS classes getting buffed in the middle. When there's another big burst window, we get it on the whole DKs again, and so on. Right, that's how it works. Anyway, let's take a look at the Kazzara kill to start with. This was rank 1 speed by I think 20 seconds or so on. We did it at 2:17. When it comes to my set as Unholy DK, I just run the normal stuff, right? I'll put up my gear over here and talents. This is just a standard, we use the normal embellishment, everything like that, nothing fancy. Anyway, let's just take a look at this pool. You notice here that both me and the other DK are stacking in the same spot. This is quite important actually for the setup. So how shifting sands work with Empower is that it prioritizes whoever you're standing close to. So when the Augmentation Evokers use their power spells, right, they're going to put shifting sands of the my targets, which stand close to. So me and the Unholy DK will stand on the left leg. Whenever the orcs are going to use their power spells to go to the left leg, and use that to guarantee that we get the shifting sands, right? Sorry. And this then also happens once they reapply it. You can see here, quite standard, we are bursting at around 1.3 million DPS. Generally, it maxes out at 1.3 to 1.5. Obviously, that's a small amount of my DPS. I'm still gonna get like 220k-ish, primarily due to the short duration. And I think the thing is that when I have 4 orcs, right, all buffing the same person, you get this multiplicative scaling. And I'm not sure if the loghoods actually appropriately attribute that back to the orcs. So I think it also boosts my damage a bit. I might, not saying this correctly, but I think there's something along those lines, which means that I do a lot of damage. Primarily though, the fact that the fight is so short is the big reason why I end up with a big DPS number at the end. You can see here, boss is obviously melting very quickly. We have 1 tank and we have 1 healer. The tank did actually die once, but quick rest and he was back up at it. And he's gonna be dropping quickly now. It's quite telling, like the first couple seconds, going to 50% is much quicker than the rest, but still, the rest of the raid also does really good DPS. So even though like everything is front loaded, we're able to getting down quickly enough to get the rank 1 speed. You can see even I got a mechanic I had to run out. You might think that, oh, you had to stand on the boss for the entire fight. In reality, I do like 90% of my damage in the first 30 seconds. So if I get mechanics afterwards, it really doesn't matter because I do roughly as much DPS as the tank. Anyway, boss is dead. You can see in details, and at 407k, half of that's going to be the Augmentation Evokers, which all ended up at above 200k DPS. Right, let's take a look at the next box, which is going to be Assault. Alright, so Assault. Now, this is a bit special when it comes to speed kills. The thing is that this boss, when he drops to 35% health, something like that, he goes to the front of the gate, he heals up, and then you get like the final phase. The thing is that if you kill him really quickly, you can actually kill him before he starts healing, which can essentially cut a big portion of his total like realistic health pool in the pool. So to do this, we are again going to do the same start as Kazzara. We have the 2 Unholy DKs. We're going to stack up. We're going to do that tactic with orcs. We're going to do the Shifting Sands extension on the Unholy DKs. Furthermore, we're going to have like, I think there's like 15 beacons. There's a lot of beacons in this raid. And everyone is going to use that around 20 seconds, 25 seconds. So the boss is actually going to run to the middle, everyone going to beacon, and he's just going to drop dead. Right. For talents here, I did run the normal setup, but in hindsight, I should have actually swapped out my Army of the Damned, the ability that essentially gives me cooldown reduction on Apocalypse and Army of the Dead, that kind of thing. That might have been true for the fight as well. Anyway, I have 0 value for that. Should I swap that out? But it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at how this boss can die quickly. To be honest, this is nearly as quickly as when I did that heroic run with 18 orgs. It's just so powerful. I do slightly different strata. I know it's going to die really quickly, so I use my gargle earlier, so I get full value from it. Otherwise, it's just going to not get full value because the boss dies too quickly. Alright, you can see the boss here is dropping insanely fast. He's at 20%, he's jumping in the middle, everyone's gonna use their beacon, and bam, boss is dead. And that was, how many seconds? I think it was like 27 seconds-ish. Hang on, let me double check here. Alright, that was 27 seconds. Cool. Now, finally, we're gonna take a look at Sarkareth. Alright, so, Sarkareth time. This is a 47 kill, so quite a lot below 5 minutes, and this has a lot of augmentation gameplay in it. So on Sarkareth it's quite special because we have multiple different burst phases, and we're able to actually kind of shift away who bursts at what point. So how we do this is that the Unholy burst on pull. At the 2-minute mark we have the Affliction Warlocks bursting with the haste buff. And then at the 3-minute 20 marks, we have the Unholy DKs bursting again with the haste buff. And then we have finally the Afflictions at 4-minute mark bursting with Bloodlust. So essentially we get 4 big burst windows, and all of those are then synergizing with the augmentation, so we get a huge amount of damage coming out from them. We done Bloodlust on pool, and we still had issues with pushing the boss too quickly. Essentially, you want to push the boss in such a way that he doesn't reach 63% before he casts his final kind of beam ability, because everyone needs standard beam so they don't get killed by the next mechanic. If you push him too quickly, he's just going to skip that and everyone's just going to die immediately. There used to be a problem when you have Bloodlust and Loss of Burst, but the fact that even without Bloodlust, we have 2 Unholy, we do PI on both of them, we have 4 Orcs, that is so much burst that we still manage to sometimes push him too quickly. Just to give you some some kind of reference to how insane this DPS is. Anyway, we're just going to take a look at this pool and talk it through. As I said, the fact we had too much damage meant that I actually did not potion on pool. When I did potion, I would simply do too much damage and we push it too quickly. So no potion, instead I will save it for my phase 3 burst. Again, you can see it's me and another Unholy DK. We're standing by ourselves to one side of the boss. This is to allow the Augmentation Evokers to properly apply Shifting Sands to us and not accidentally do it on someone else. This is actually a big part to making it easier for them to do that double Shifting Sand window, and will significantly improve the overall burst that we can get out. We can see there, again, we peak it at like 1.2, 1.3 mil on a good pull. I didn't actually look at what it was here, but that is essentially all augmentation damage, just synergizing so extremely well with Unholy. Alright, nothing too exciting going to happen here. The fight generally is quite spicy. We can see one org actually drops there. That is actually quite positive to us because, as I said, we do too much damage, so having someone die means that we are less likely to push it too quickly. So, you know, sometimes that actually is a good thing. Now, as said before, right, we do not run a lot of healers and tanks. This is 2 tanks and 2 healers. On the assault one, we actually ran it without any healers, so just 1 tank and then 19 DPS to just maximize the amount of damage. Alright, we can see Clifton Surge. That's the ability that if you push him too quickly, he uses that, wipes the raid, but we managed to do quite nicely here. We want him to be at around 63% when he phases. That's the goal here. So we're going to go down, we're going to get our haste buff. When we go upstairs, we're going to have the Affliction Warlocks doing the big burst. So they also have a designated spot to stand on. And then you're going to leverage that haste to just deal an insane amount of boss damage, which means that we can actually phase him into phase 3 with only 1 set of ads. So phase 2 is really, really short here. Okay, we'll get up. We're going to focus as much boss damage as possible. I'm not going to use my Unholy Assault here. If I do use it, I won't have it up for my burst later. So I'm just going to hold on to that. We are going to be good gamers and miss like 2 kicks here. You know, the healers need something to do, right? And otherwise, you can see that the Affliction Warlocks are now popping off. They're going to get ahead of us on Unholy DKs, on details. Again, details is both own damage, but primarily augmentation damage. And you can see the boss is reaching the 41% T phases? Something like that. Just before the breath actually comes out. So you can see breath comes in 3 seconds. He's going to cast like halfway. And then he's just going to jump away. There we go. Off he goes. Now, downstairs, get 10 stacks up, and then it's my and the Unholy DK's turn to do the burst. So let's see how that works out. Alright, come downstairs. I'm going to start picking up the haste buffs there. Making sure to space out when I pick up the big ones. Alright, we have the radiator counting down when to go up. I'm going to go up and I'm going to immediately pop all my cooldowns to get as much haste overlap as possible. Going to stand on the left leg here. This is again position that we've pre-decided so that the orcs know exactly where to stand. We're going to take a specific look at our gargle damage here, which is going to be at around 7 million, I think. There we go, 5, 6. There we go, 6.8 million, which is quite good. As I said, again, the details don't really tell the full story here. I'm at 330k now, but at the end I end at like 170k. I still end up quite high. I think, again, due to the multiplicative nature of the orcs buffing, but also due to the fact that this is actually quite good from the Unholy point of view, because we kill it quite quickly after this second burst window. So anyway, we use Bloodlust, and then the boss is just going to die, and we're going to get our 447 kill timer. I think there's still ways to optimize this. It's a bit tricky here because obviously we have to run out, so Bloodlust does not get its full use. You kill it with like 15 seconds left on it, which is not ideal, but it's what it is. Anyway, so I hope you understand now that Augmentation is completely busted if played correctly. So in a very organized manner with a lot of min-max happening, you can do so much damage. Now the changes here means that we can't stack Shifting Sands as much, which is one of the primary things that makes it so strong, because both the big DPS dealers get 4 stacks of Shifting Sands, and then you extend that and there's just so much damage. So essentially you can't in the same way stack 4 Augmentation and do this insane burst. I think it's still going to be strong, but we're going to have to wait to see exactly how big it is. I think going forward, doing this extension of Shifting Sands will probably become the Augmentation meta. It shows here that it is really strong. It is better to kind of focus on one guy, give him all your buffs, instead of kind of spreading it out and not getting as much burst. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it was justified to nerf Augmentation based on this? Or should I have done something different? Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think. Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.